What's going on? I'm your host, Aaron Lloyd, and this is episode 44 of the Creation Grounds. Before I get into our next dope guest, I just want to encourage you to like, share, subscribe with your friends, with your family, anybody who you think will gather value from it, be motivated, inspired, educated, entertained. I might have said entertained already, but just share it. Smash that like button and let people know about it. Our next guest is Emana Rachelle, Atlanta-born Emana Rachelle, and in this episode she talks about her latest booking with Issa Rae on Insecure. She worked with Kyla, Pratt, a bunch of other people, her experience. She walks us through the experience of being on that set specifically, and how she was treated, what she learned from that set, and how much fun she had. She talks about vision boards, how you can create your own vision board, because HBO was on her vision board, and it manifested itself in the way of Insecure, and how you can also do that. She talks about the challenges between setting those goals and putting them on her vision board, and the challenges in between that waiting period, and what you could do to kind of temper that. And she talks about just her Instagram show, where she also interviews creatives, which she's also converted into a YouTube show. Follow her, show her some love on both Instagram and YouTube, and enjoy this episode with Atlanta-born Emana Rachelle. Welcome to another episode of Creation Grounds. I have the lovely, talented Emana Rachelle on with me. What's up, Emana?
What's up? I'm so excited to be on.
I'm excited to have you. What up? Where were you born? Let's start with that.
Shawty, ATL folk, like,
okay.
What it is, what's up? Shawty, like, what's good? Like, we.
Okay. ATL. You already kind of. What was the day like when you discovered that you were funny?
I mean, I feel like my mom was always telling me, oh, you should do comedy. You're so funny. Like, this is even when I was, like, a little kid. I mean, I've always liked to entertain. I used to, like, watch the gymnastics meets and, like, try and repeat it in my house. Like, I would watch ice skating, and, like, every time people would come over, I'd be like, look at me dance. And I think I've always had, like, a bit of sarcasm. And so much that my grandmother used to call me Miss Ann. But
why Miss Ann?
I think, like, you know, my grandmother, she's 92. Thank God, I'm so blessed to have her in my life. But, you know, like, that was just like a term used for, like, bougie black people, or people who just thought they was better than, or people who just, like, was smart mouth, you know, just something flip to say. So I think she would that's why she would call me Miss Ann, like, okay, Miss Ann, because I would just be, like, smart, I guess. Not smart enough to the point where, like, I needed a spanking, like, I wasn't crazy. But, yeah, she would just call me Miss. And I just feel like I was always cracking jokes. But I didn't know they were jokes. And my mom would just be like, you should do comedy. And I said, like, I'm funny talking to you guys because, like, this is in the moment. It's not planned out. Mm-hmm. But I can't do comedy. Like, you know, I was always intimidated by it. So I think it was something more or less that my family always told me. And I just really, like, fought it for a long time. And then finally, like, when I left New York for a period of time, I was back in Alabama. I was like, well, what the hell am I do? Or in Alabama, because I'm not from Alabama. And right. It's not like Georgia or Atlanta where you, like, have you know, film and TV or even theater. I grew up doing theater. So I was like, God, I have to do something. And so it became stand-up.
Dope. And you are currently doing stand-up. I know you have a couple sets. Tell me about your first time up on the stand-up stage, because you kind of broke through that barrier of being hesitant against it and resistant to it, and now you're doing it pretty often. What was your first experience like?
My first experience was at this well-known comedy club in Birmingham called Stardome, and I had recently moved to Alabama. And it was kind of, I think my mom, I had looked it up before I moved, and then I think, like, the topic just kept coming up with conversations with my mom. And really, I didn't know am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead, speak your mind. No censorship.
I didn't know, well, now I'm like, oh, you should find a better word and show that you're intelligent. I didn't know, like, what it meant to, like, create a set. Uh-huh. So there's just, like, I think, and that set is still on YouTube. It's like not the whole set, but it's like a snippet of the set. It's probably like maybe 20, 30 seconds, something like that. And I don't know, I just talked. I just talked and said shit I was thinking. And I may have, like, jotted down stuff, but I didn't understand, like, joke structure.
Right.
And it went really well. Like, people laughed. They were like, "Oh my God, you're so funny." I didn't know what the hell I did. And so then the challenge became like, oh, how do I recreate that? Not necessarily recreate that moment, but how do I take the crazy thoughts that I have and put it into structure? But that first night was just, I mean, that first night probably was, it was serendipitous in the fact that, like, everybody laughed. Like, it wasn't awkward. Back then, I still drank, so I think I did have a little bit of liquid courage in me, just like to relax. But yeah, I was like, oh wow, they thought that was funny.
That's
Woohoo!
that's dope. And I know you
Yeah,
have some just acting chops too. I think that stand up is probably the hardest of any craft. But I know you went to
yeah.
NYU. You have some real chops under your belt. So do you want to do drama as well? Or are you more geared towards comedy?
I think that comedy is like, it's that part of me, like, I'm always trying to squish it down. And so, but actually, when I started acting, like, I've always been drawn to drama. And so comedy has become the thing that, like, as an adult, I've forced myself to embrace. Because I'll be like, oh my God, I can't do comedy. I'm not funny. Even like, I mean, guess technically Neil Simon wasn't right for us, no way.
Hmm.
But I would see, like, or read Neil Simon or something, be like, oh, well, I don't really get this, or how do I do this, or what's comedic timing, and all of that. I think, that language has changed the more, like, we've taken control of our own narratives. But I guess, like, drama has just always been what I've wanted to do because it was my escape from, like, my own reality, like whatever I was dealing with day to day. And now it's like, oh, but people have seen you be funny, so they want to see you be funny. I'm like, can I just make you cry? That's so much easier.
Well, they say that if
So,
you're really good at, you can't really be a great comedian unless you could do drama. You got to know both sides. So in some ways, to make people laugh, you also already inherently have the ability to make them cry as well. So I think you got that
yeah,
on lock.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
your most recent great booking that you had was on Insecure with Issa Rae, and I know that was something that you had to not tell people for a while. Did you specifically manifest Insecure, or was it just open for any booking? Like you said, I want to just book something big, or were you specifically targeting that show?
I wasn't targeting Insecure specifically. I would say my last year of grad school, I did grad school in West Virginia, and I was really like, man, I got to get the hell up out of here. Like, what the hell I'm gonna do? And I've always, like, just a part of, like, my religious practice, I would say, like, growing up, like, I grew up in a non-denominational church where, the conversation was always about not necessarily manifesting, but about, like, energy, and, like, you are what you speak. And so that was something that's been ingrained in me since I was a kid. And I can remember, like, at the beginning of New Year's, like, having New Year's resolutions as a kid, or even, like, as a young adult, because I am so young. Like, I'm so young. Like, don't get it twisted. But I just actively started to put images on boards, like, around 2018, or that I can remember. I may have done it before, or, started to cut out stuff, but I think I really just kind of started to make it more of a practice in 18. And I didn't have Insecure on there. I did have HBO on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some other things on there. And when I look back at that vision board, like, I look at how much I accomplished. And I've also realized, because we put these timelines on things, right? But technically, in the universe, time does not exist. It's not a real thing. Like,
Right.
that time is man-made.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look back at those vision boards, and like, I may not have accomplished all of those things, like, by December 31st, 2018, but then I was like, oh, when I booked Insecure, I was like, oh, technically I did have HBO on there. And it wasn't like, oh, I want a specific show on HBO. It was just, I want to be on the network.
Right.
And then when I look at other things, I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. So that's what that is. Even, like, my vision board this year, I had picked out all of my pictures, like, at the beginning of the year, and then life just happened. I mean, we all out here fighting, trying to stay alive. And I didn't put them on the actual board, even though I had prayed over them and, like, gave it to God, and I had the images. I didn't actively put them on my board until October. And then as I was putting them on my board, it was someone I was like, girl, it's October. Boo. Are you really going to put this on here? And I was like, no. This is what I prayed over. This is what I asked the Lord for. It is going on here. I don't care what time of the year it is.
Right.
And then it was like, even some things I put in there, I was like, wait, what, Emana? It's 2 months left in the year. Like, how is this going to happen? But then when I started to, like, things started to materialize, I started to realize why it may not have been, like, directly how I envisioned it. Like, those are things that I still accomplished during the year, or things that I have touched during the year. So, you know, I think that, and I struggle with this too, like, it's important to ask the universe, ask God, you know, whoever it is that you pray to, because I'm not one of those people like, you better be praying to Jesus or you're going to hell. And, I mean, I have definitely lost friends over those conversations. So, you know, and not because I wasn't welcoming of different people's different views. It was because I said stuff that, like, wasn't, like, radical Christian. They was like, oh, you ain't a real Christian. You going to hell. And I was like, okay, maybe we don't need to be friends. But
you're more open-minded.
Yeah, I'm definitely way more open-minded. And I also, like, there's, like, I just look at even, like, the way life is created. Like, there's no, first of all, man fucks up everything. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that there is no God that is in control of that. Like, even just, like, the way the human body works, man would fuck it up. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, so let me get back on this tangent. I do believe that, you know, it might not come exactly as you envisioned it, or in the time frame that you feel. Lord, I'm preaching to myself today because it is November and there's some stuff on this board that I'm like, Lord, did you forget? Jesus, it's on there. Father, it's, you know, we got about 30 days, 60 days, a little less than 60 days, you know. Mm-hmm. Just want you to know that it's there. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that really putting those things into the universe, they will manifest. You know, facts. I heard Lena say, she said, and I'm, you know, this is not me quoting her, but I heard her say, I believe that, you know, my dreams were big enough that God was able to, like, fill it in. Like, she didn't, like, specify, I want it to look like this, but she in whatever way she prayed, or I'm not sure, mm-hmm. but she allowed there to be room for God to fill in the blanks. And that's details. Hard to do.
Yeah.
You know? It's so hard to do.
That's dope. I think by this time, a lot of people understand what a vision board is, but on the chance that somebody listening doesn't know how to create a vision board or doesn't know what that is for their lives or their career, where would you say to start? Do you just buy a bunch of magazines? What was your process for that?
Well, before I even, like, look, I divide, like, into categories. I do family, I do health, I do my career, I do my finances. And so then I jot down, like, you know, what I want. I want to net $200,000 this year in cash career. I always put this on my board, and probably also because my grandmother's in her 90s, and I've also, like, lived a life where I've had to lose people. I always put my family on there, like, these motherfuckers, we finna get through this year together. Mm-hmm. We got to start this together, and we gonna end this together. Right. I, like, always put, whether it's that I got, like, this last year, I don't think I put their pictures on there, but every previous year, like, it was a picture of me and my husband on there, with me, my mama, my sister, my grandmother on there, like, just so you know, God, these motherfuckers. So, but I think this year, I wrote, like, our names in a book, like, that I prayed over. So I always, like, divide it that way. And then I write down, like, what I want to accomplish. And then I go and, like, and I'm honestly got to the point because maybe as an artist, I shouldn't say this. I don't have a lot of magazine subscriptions.
You say you're trying to make that $200K. That's why. That's an expense.
I don't have that. So I will go and, like, I mean, Google, technically, you can just Google images. Like, yep. Google those things, and then I put them on in a Word document, and then I print them out in color and cut them out. And something I added this year is like praying over them before they're cut out, and I try to like bring it into the ritual of praying over them during the new moon, things like that.
Dope. So you manifested, you had this big dream, God kind of filled in the details, you wanted to be on HBO, God filled in the details of Insecure. From the moment of you setting that goal or that intention of wanting that, what was the most challenging from the goal setting to when you finally achieved it? What was the most challenging in between?
I think I had, if my manager ever hears this, he'll be like, we had a come to Jesus moment. Because I was like, you audition for tons of things. So I was doing a lot of auditioning, and I am a person, I'm working on this is one of my flaws, but I'm a person who, like, I don't like to be told what to do at all. Like, if you tell me to do something, I'm going to do the opposite. That's just, I don't know, I probably get it from my daddy. And I'm not saying that's a great trait. But we had a come to Jesus moment, and he basically was like saying that my self-tapes were stilted. And
they were what? Stupid?
They were stilted.
Oh, stilted.
Like,
I was about
they were
to say.
very like, they were like a mechanical version of people and not a human being.
Oh, I feel that. Okay.
And I'm like, I'm offended, I'm upset, I'm da-da-da-da-da. And I do a lot of funny videos on Instagram. And he's like, where is that girl on those videos? Where is she? I see those videos, but you're not bringing her to your self-tape. And I'm like, I don't think I like popped off back. I'm just like, I probably come out, I'm like, can you believe he told me? And essentially that comes down to just take the note, nigga. Like, look, just take the note, nigga. But, it's sometimes very hard to take the note. So that was in the place I was in. Like, I was auditioning a lot. I wasn't getting the veil checks. I wasn't getting responses. I wasn't getting anything. And I felt like something was off. I couldn't identify what was necessarily off. And then, like, Insecure came. Actually, I had a friend's wedding to go to that weekend in Ohio that I was driving to. And that came, like, last minute. And I had it was that, and it was another audition. Like, they kind of came back to back, and I kind of had to make the decision, like, do I do this audition or do I go to my friend's wedding? And I felt terrible, but I chose the audition. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I finished the audition with, because I always work with a friend or work with a coach. Like, I still, like, that third eye is helpful for me in my process. Mm-hmm. I remember I was leaving my friend's apartment at that time, and I was just like, man, fuck it. If they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't. Fuck it. I did it. I did me. Fuck it. And I was also, I think I told you this, I can't remember, but, like, they didn't give you the whole script just because so many people, they have so many spoiler alerts.
Yep.
So you didn't get the whole script. And, like, the scene I was in literally cut off. And, like, I was like, well, what the hell? Did they miss a page? Or, like, what's going on? Like, so I had to really fill in the blanks. So I just made up some shit. And I was like, I really, like, that whole actor detective work. I just created a world. And I was like, okay, so why is this character doing this? Okay, so maybe it's this. Okay, so, all right, well, shit, they ain't telling me. So guess what? I guess this is the hell what she's going to do. And when I later talked to Issa about it, she was like, yeah, we didn't give you any of that. You just made it up. I was like, yeah, no, you sure didn't. You sure didn't give me any of that. And, that kind of goes back to the world building. But I remember leaving that when I did that self-tape, and I was just like, you know what? I did my best. I was me. Them niggas ain't told me what to do. So I figured out what the hell to do. And maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, whatever. That's how I felt when I submitted it. And I wasn't even I was not expecting to book that. I just wasn't.
That's the way it always works.
A lot of no's. I got so many no's at that point. I was like, man, fuck it. Mm-hmm. But my manager, when I sent it to him, because, I paper and then I sent it to him to submit, he was like, boom, that's it. Bam. That's right. That's the girl I was talking about. That's the girl that's on Instagram. And I was like, whatever, leave me alone. I'm missing my friend's wedding. I don't want to talk to you.
Did she forgive you?
She was never upset. She was like, I have to say, like, probably all my friends, she's like the most chill freaking friend. And even when I didn't go, I didn't tell her the audition. I mean, I just said, hey, I got a project come up that I have to submit. I'm not gonna, because I was also driving by myself, and it was like 7 or 8 hours, so I would not have slept and all of that. So it was like, do I risk my life to drive 7 or 8 hours? And she was like, no, you do what you have to do. Like, it's fine. Do not worry about it. And of course, I felt terrible. But then when I booked it, my sister was like, I bet you don't feel bad now. Huh? I was like, no, I don't.
That's dope. It all worked out.
It did work out. It worked out. And she's a good friend, and like we're still friends. And like when it came out, like she didn't know what it was. So when it came out, I was like, see, this is why I missed the wedding. She was like, you better have missed my wedding for this. If you hadn't, I would be mad at you.
That's funny. So you finally book it, you're on set. Tell me about your first moment on set for Insecure. Walk me through what was going on in your head and what they said up to action for your first take.
Oh, God. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. So we going to miss some steps for sure. I would try and summarize. I will say this about, and I have said this to many people. I've been on a lot of different sets. This was the blackest set I've been on, and it was the most welcoming set I've been on. It was just like so much love. And I didn't see Issa until we were filming. Yeah, I didn't see her until we were filming, until our first day of filming. But you know, like we're all in. But yeah, because she was shooting like all that morning. I think we came in at night. So the first person I saw in terms of the cast for our scene was Kyla. And I remember I walked into the hair and makeup trailer. I had my own trailer. I was like, "Hey, bitch, I got my own trailer." I had my own trailer. Oh, but even before that, like I had to come for fittings. Like honestly, like everybody, they were just so nice. So even like the costume team, like they were just so sweet. Had to do props because I had a stunt scene. So I met like props. So that was like a day before we were actually shooting, or maybe 2 days before. Like I was on set, like, you know, them fitting me for props and stuff like that. Everyone was like really nice. Like they were just genuinely nice. Like it was no, you know, it was none of that. And just like joking and stuff like that. And then when I was actually on set to film, Kyla was the first person, and she said, "Hey," like she knew me. She was like, "Hey," and I was like, first, because I didn't know who the other girls were. I knew there were other women, but I didn't know who they were. So
and just so everybody knows, you're talking about Kyla Pratt.
Kyla Pratt, yeah.
Yep.
So Kyla was the first person I saw, and she said, "Hey," and she reached out to give me a hug, and I was like, "Hey." And then the other woman, Michael, she's actually, what's so funny is though, she's actually from Atlanta, and she went to a popular or well-known public school in Atlanta. She's like 2 years behind me, but so then we had that whole thing to talk about. So literally we were in the trailer like some cackling hens. Like I think everybody was like, "Y'all know each other?" We was like, "Nah, we don't know." We was just like, "Oh my God, girl, what you say? Oh my God." Like you really would have thought we was like best friends, knew each other, had done this before. Just cackling so loud in the trailer. And I remember I asked somebody, I think it was Kim, she does makeup, and she's amazing. And I think I asked her, I was like, "Is it always like this?" And she was like, "No, the other girl," she was like referring to like Yvonne and Amanda and Natasha, and she was like, "No, usually when they come in, you know, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's quiet. Y'all the only ones that be this loud." I was like, "Really? Oh my God." But yeah, I just remember it was cool. Then when we were filming, so then later, you know, we got transported or what is, I can't even think. We got moved to set. And we were in our places and stuff, and Issa came and just said, the first thing we did was the paint and sip scene.
Yeah.
And she was just hella cool. Like, she was quiet. She was very quiet. Michael knew the director because she knew her from Atlanta and Atlanta. Oh my God. She knew her from Atlanta. So they had a relationship. And then Kyla, everybody knows Kyla.
Right.
And I'm just like, nobody knows me. I'm so quiet. But I think the first thing Issa asked was, "Do any of y'all sing?" And I was like, "What?" She was just like trying to start conversation, but she was cool. And
right.
then Melina was there. She came over like we were doing the take. I think Melina thought she knew me from somewhere, because then Issa started talking about that. So that was a conversation. Then somebody said, "Oh, you look like Essence Atkins." And then Issa was like, "Oh my God, you do." She was like, "That's why Melina thinks she knows you."
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, I have to say that it was nice. It was a great experience. When it was over, I was like, "No, I'm so sad and it wants to be over." But it was positive. It was positive. I did have, I think, Prentice, who is the showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Prentice, I think, because he wasn't there till like our last day, or to the day before my last day, because I had an extra day. And he told me my self-tape was funny. He was like, "That was funny," and I was like, "Ah." Right there.
That's dope.
And somebody else said that about my self-tape. I can't remember who.
Do you have the self-tape? Do you still have it?
Oh yeah, I still have it for sure. For a while I was like going back to the self-tape, like trying to like see like what was it that popped, because people always think, okay, you get that role, that's it, like you're a star.
Right.
People are just calling your phone. No, nigga, you still auditioning.
Yep.
So I've been, it's been a part of like my research, like what was it that I captured in that moment that I can recreate. But I'm learning, like, I feel like acting is like you're always studying. I mean, at this point, I have my BFA, I have my MFA, and I still, and this is also probably the imposter syndrome, but I'm still like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I'm always studying. Like, I'm always trying to get better. I'm always trying to improve. I'm always trying to, like, fine-tune my technique. And people don't get that, like, auditioning is a whole other beast. Like,
yep.
Auditioning does not determine are you a good actor, because it's one thing sitting in a room for 6 weeks with a director and a cast, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys are building, creating characters. That's a completely different animal from, okay, here it is, 16 pages, turn it in by tomorrow, go.
Yep.
It's a different animal. So I'm always like trying to fine tune that process for myself.
What are 3 points of wisdom that you learned from that booking and being on set that you'll carry with you for the rest of your career? So you have the self-tape, you'll be able to look at what popped in that. What else have you learned, and will you carry with you from that?
Well, I would say, even in having that self-tape during this quarantine, I would say something that I've uncovered is that you can never recreate that moment.
Mm-hmm.
That was a moment in time. And really, if you want to go back and look at the self-tape, like, wow, look at that, and now look where I am, that's fine. But don't look at it to get points on, okay, what do I apply to my next self-tape? It's because you'll be like trying to recreate a moment, and then it actually like stifles your instrument. So I don't think that, and I've only just like had that epiphany over these last like 6 months, I guess. But it's, allow that moment to be that moment. But I would say three points of wisdom would be your most freaking authentic self. Just, now if you're an asshole, hey. But let's be real. Characters are assholes, right?
Some
like, characters are assholes. Yes, some characters are assholes. So, I'm not saying go cuss people out, but I'm just saying, in creating these characters, and that's something I've struggled with, especially when it's not written. Insecure, I knew Insecure before I got the audition for Insecure. So I knew the world of Insecure.
Right.
And being on set kind of cemented for me, like, oh, might not physically know these women, but I know these women.
Right.
So that is a barrier removed in me, like, creating the world for the show.
Mm-hmm.
But in other things, like, it is important to know the world, and it may be different from a world that you know. But don't then feel like, oh, I have to, like, like transform myself into something else. Like, it's just like finding your place in that world. And like finding the commonalities of, actually, hey, this is a whole ministry for life. If we focus on the commonalities and not the differences, like, it'll be a much easier process as a human being and in building a character. So I would say that's a big long thing. Be your authentic self. What else have I learned from that one booking? The one booking in my life.
The one.
Trust. And as I say this, I know I'm not 100% doing it. I'm like 90% doing it. Maybe 89. Okay, 80%. But trust the process. Trust God. Trust God and trust the process. You are not behind. You are right on time. Yeah, I would say those are the three things. You are not behind. You are right on time. Trust God, trust the process, and be your authentic self.
Love that. And what's next? I know, like, the acting journey is sometimes out of our hands in terms of like what's next, but I know you have like an Instagram live show or something like that. What are you currently working on or desire to work on next?
Lord child, what am I not working on? Well, prior to quarantine, I was an off-Broadway chef.
Okay.
That was a big thing. We were actually in tech. We were about to go into tech literally the next day when they were like, Broadway shut down.
Dang.
And then, so we've been in a holding pattern for that, which is a blessing that we are still in a holding pattern. But so much is going on in this eroding of America. So who knows? But in terms of things I control, I'm writing. I finished in quarantine. I did finish my first pilot.
Dope.
Now look, she needs a rewrite, but I did it by myself. I'm proud of myself. So I wrote my first pilot. I am working on a short, and my goal is to have that done by December 31st, 2021. And then, yes, I did start a show interviewing creatives, just about, how to encourage other creatives, specifically Black and brown creatives, on like how to follow their dreams without losing their shit. That's the name of it. So that is something that I've been doing on IG, and my goal in 2021 is to move that to YouTube, so that those can be like on camera interviews. Maybe some of them be streaming, but those are big things that I'm working on, and I'm also treating my body right, mental health, physical health, all of those.
It's important
things, especially oh Lord, child, this is a time.
Yeah, it is 2020.
Yeah,
it's been a time.
2020. Yeah, it's a time.
What book have you gifted the most in the past year?
What book I gifted the most? There is a book. Okay, so I ended up gifting it to myself accidentally. Actually, Michael, one of the women who I did Insecure with, she was like, one of her gifts to her followers was like books to help improve people's like conversations around Black lives and the Black experience. So I thought she was asking for book ideas, and so one of the books I suggested was W.E.B. DuBois is The Souls of Black Folks.
I have that book.
Yeah, and then she ended up sending it to me, and I was like, wait, no, I have this book. Oh, I didn't have to do that. So anyway, I guess like I didn't mean to gift it to myself. I meant to gift it to someone else. But another book, sadly, I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed, but like that I was recommending to people, to some friends, was this hypnosis book on weight loss.
Has it been working? Is it working?
I mean, I don't think any of them got it. And I think, yeah, I guess. I mean, yes, it has changed my conversation around food, especially like when I've been doing a lot of emotional eating. Although you couldn't tell that last night. But yeah, it has. It's changed my psyche.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I feel like they're like, she didn't really go get an answer. I could have just made up a book. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help that I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone right now? Does that help?
That's a dope book. They're making that into a movie.
It is a but I know, I heard. And it took me a while to get into it, but I'm into it now. Yeah. So that's something.
That's dope. So what are you let's see, what are 3 shows that you're watching right now? Top 3 shows. We all got time in quarantine. What have you been catching up on? What do you like?
Yeah, I feel like in quarantine I have said yes to more projects, so I've had less time, and to the point where I was like, bro, you gotta chill. You gotta stop doing all of this shit. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like basically quarantine's gonna end and everybody's gonna be like stretching and like, wow, I'm so refreshed, and I'm be like, nigga, I'm tired as hell because I did all this shit. But right now I'm in the middle of I May Destroy You on HBO. Mm-hmm. Breaking Bad.
That show is dope. That's a good show.
Yeah, it is. Like, the storytelling is really good. I'm so hesitant to watch the show because I have some opinions about things. Mm-hmm. Political things. But anyway, I had some things. I was like, okay, anyway, let me not say that on here. But anyway, I had some issues. I ain't really want to watch. Mm-hmm. But it is good storytelling. Like, I have to be honest, it's some good storytelling. And then A Million Little Things. I've kind of gotten into it. Like, it's, I've gotten into A Million Little Things. There's been some things, like, every time I watch shows like that, my husband, like, walks by, like, it does an eye roll, because he prefers, like, the grit of, like, Breaking Bad. Mm-hmm. But I have found myself a couple times like, girl, oh no, she can do that in my house. What? What?
Talking at the screen.
And sometimes I'm like, wait, that's so cookie cutter. But then, like, I'm still into it. So whatever, I guess, sue me. I'm into it.
I ask all my guests this. When you think of the word creative, who comes to mind for you and why?
Oh God. I think the word creative. Well, I thought a lot of people came to mind. Initially I thought me, then I thought God, then I thought Oprah.
Okay, so those are your 3. You, God, Oprah. Their powers combined.
I am Captain Planet. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah, that was seriously. Yeah, that was weird. But okay, I don't know. I don't know what my mind's association with those things are.
That works. Dope. So how can people connect with you? Instagram, how can they watch your show, your interviewing show, and anything else that you're working on?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at EMANA RACHELLE, Emana Rachelle. And there are old episodes of the show that are on my IG. And I'm also in the process of building my YouTube. So you can also follow me on YouTube because that's where I'm going to start streaming new episodes of the show. It's Emana Rachelle, EMANA space RACHELLE. There's also some old stand-up on there. You guys should go and just follow, honey. Just go follow. So you will be the first to get new content as I drop content. And then I also do funny videos on my IG as well. A friend and I, a friend and me? I don't know.
Friend and I.
Friend and I. Okay. Don't judge me, English teachers. We just did a skit in reference to the election this week. Mm-hmm. So, so follow me on those 2 platforms, YouTube and Instagram, and Emana Rachelle. If you just search my name, stuff will come up, and you will get a whole plethora of funny things and behind the scenes conversations with industry creatives on how to follow your dreams without losing your shit.
Emana Rachelle.
Rehearsal report. Yep. Thanks. This has been fun.